Okay, we're ready to start pulling your career tools together. And the first tool we're going to focus on is your resume. Yes, I know, you still need a resume today. And so you're going to have to build something that's updated. Now, there are a lot of different resume techniques out there, a lot of different templates you can look at. We have a course specific to how we design resumes, complete with templates and a step-by-step tutorial if you're interested. But you also can go out there and find a lot of different resources. What I want to do right now is just tell you some of the main key points that you should make sure is included in your resume so that you know that you're doing it right. First of all, keep in mind that it needs to be in no larger than 11 or 12 point font. I'll give you the range. No smaller than 11, no larger than 12 in the written text. And that's because if you go any smaller, it's too hard to read, and you go any larger, it looks like you're yelling. You might use a little bit larger font on things like your headline and some of your titles, but as far as the majority of the text, it's 11 to 12 point font only. I'm also going to tell you that you should be using sans serif fonts, or the fonts really with no curly tails. You want clean line fonts. That's because studies show that they're much easier on the eye. It makes it much more readable. So while you're trying to use all sorts of fancy fonts to make your resume look more impressive, it's actually working against you. Instead, keep it clean, keep it simple, keep it readable. I'm also going to tell you to make sure that your margins aren't any smaller than 0.8 on either side and no larger than 1 inch. Too small margins and you've got too much text on the page, it's very hard to read, it's very overwhelming. If your margins are too big, it's going to create a lot of pages to your resume. And lastly, I'm going to tell you that you have to make sure that there's a lot of white space and formatting throughout your resume. It's more important that that resume have white space so that the eye can read through it than whether or not it fits onto one page or not. In fact, most people today, if they have more than 10 years experience, are probably going to roll onto a second page with their resume. It's all about the design. Those are the fundamentals of getting your resume updated. It's important that you do this, but I want you to remember something. While a resume can hold you back from getting a job, so a poorly designed resume, it doesn't get you the job. And as you're going to learn in the future modules, if you aren't leading your job search and connecting with people first, then honestly your resume doesn't matter. In fact, studies show today that when you blindly apply to jobs online with your resume, there's only a 3% chance that you will get a phone call. And that's because that applicant tracking system, that automated system, is tossing you out. So you have to learn to go around the process, which is what we're going to teach you in future modules. But again, you still have to have a resume. So at least get it formatted correctly using the guidelines I gave you. And if you need extra help, make sure you get it, because you've got to check this milestone off your list so that we can move on to the far more important aspects of your job search.